we started with breathing position. So we're gonna go down, I'll show you and remind you, this is what I want you doing for homework. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. All right, fingers running down to the pubic bone and then out to the side. We're gonna inhale, then exhale, apply pressure up into your fingertips in that lowest part of your abdominal wall. Do it again. We'll slide the fingers up to those hip pointers and then about halfway down diagonally between where they were before and your hip pointers. And now they should be on that V-shaped muscle. And here we go again, a breath in. And as you press out, pressure into your fingers. Inhale. Exhale. Slide your fingers up, bottom rib, and then slide them down your obliques about halfway between your bottom rib and your hip pointers. Breathe in. As you breathe out, move your breath out laterally to the sides. Press into your fingers, moving outward. And in. Out. And then take your hand, run them around to your back, right at the edge of the obliques and the QL, and then a breath in and out. Push the air down. Can you press toward the floor? And out to the sides into your fingers. Breathe in and breathe out. Now you're just going to practice that breath. Inhaling here, not into your chest. Exhaling, applying pressure in all 4 of those areas. Continue. Can you also apply it on the breath in? And on the breath out. Practicing that for a few minutes morning and night is going to make you so much better. We'll talk about that more as we practice more. All right, we came up and we got started here in tall kneeling with the right leg forward. We're going to come into some hip flexion. Drive forward. Remember that for the purposes of what they're teaching you right now, we don't want this knee over the ankle. So we're going to keep adjusting the foot forward so that we have a 90-degree angle here. And then as we continue to go forward on this back leg, remember that the hip shifting down toward the ground is not coming into your deepest position. So we're going to bring this thigh bone up and try to parallel it with this right side. So now you should begin to feel quite a bit of tension here on the left hip flexors. And then we're going to try to keep this knee right in the middle of our second and third toe. And now you're probably in the deepest position you're going to get in, so we're going to start trying to provide strength there. We're going to shift the hips forward, and we're going to use the quad to fight it from going forward. So the quad is pulling up and in. We're going to hold that for 10 seconds. And now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to squeeze the left glute and shove those hips further forward. Keep going. And now relax, and remember, this is where the money is. This is where your body is memorizing that you can go into these deeper positions and be okay here. Take a look down at your knee. If it has gone over your ankle now, you've moved deeper into this position, go ahead and slide your foot out. so that you have 90 degrees again. We're going to keep this hip pulling up and even with the other one, and then we're going to go one more round. Ready? Start pushing forward. Quad fights to keep that from happening. And then the opposite, squeeze that glute, push your hips further forward. Keep driving for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax in this position. Don't come out yet. And now you can go ahead and make your way out. We'll bring it over to the left side. Remember, this first part is just finding your greatest passive range that each thigh will give you. And also that we're noticing the difference between the sides. If one side gives you more than the other, then you're noticing that the side that doesn't give you much, you want to continue to work on that side so you can even it out. If your knee is going over your toes, again, we're going to slide this ankle out. There's a time for us to drive that knee over the toes and try to get a little bit more ankle flexion. We just don't want to do that right now because you're preparing for the season. So not that there's anything wrong with that, just not right now. All right, and then we're going to keep this leg right over between the second and third toe. So in other words, I shouldn't be able to see your shoe, or you shouldn't be able to see your shoe for your knee. And now start lifting this hip up, trying to parallel the two sides. And now you should feel like you're in your deepest position, and then we'll start moving forward using the quad to fight that from happening. Now notice if it's your glute that's trying to help you. Leave your glutes off. Try to find just the front of your thigh. All those hip flexors working to fight right here in the front. And now the glutes get to turn on, and the glutes are going to push you further forward. And then you're going to relax and stay right here. And then we're going to go another round. Here we go. Quad turns on, fights that pelvis from moving forward. And now the glutes shove you forward. Here we go. You got this. Come on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax everything. Stay and hold it right here. And then we're just going to push back, come out of that. Take your time. As you're ready, you'll go ahead and come into the same position again. Now I'm going to turn to the side so you can see what I'm talking about here. Now we're going to use the same hip flexors on the front, but we're going to use them now in conjunction with the hamstrings. So we're going to bring this front leg out. We're going to begin to drive the heel down into the ground as we drive the hips back toward the wall behind us, and the spine stays nice and long. We do not round like this. All right, so it's a hip hinge, just like your squat pattern. Again, if you're feeling this in the back of the knee, we want to turn that off by bending the knee and then driving your foot down. If you still can't turn that off, if you still feel that burning when you're in this position, come see me and I'll try to help you find a way to work on that. So now we're driving down, and as we do, we're trying to apply a little bit more pressure if we can. So thinking about these two connectors of the hamstrings moving in opposite directions as far as you can. And now we'll start to strengthen here in this longest range. Drive your heel down into the ground with about 25% of your effort. Keep your chest long, pulling toward the wall in front of you, and now drive your leg down. You've got about 50% of your effort working. And can you find 75%? Dig a little harder. And now 100%. If I was there, I wouldn't be able to pull your foot off the ground. We're holding that for 10 seconds. Dig down. And now you're going to do the opposite. You're going to try to use the top of your thigh and pull your leg up to your chest. Your foot's going to get light. Keep lifting. Don't come out of the position. Keep your tail long. Pull up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. And now you might notice that you're able to go a little bit deeper. If you can't, you just keep your position. Notice if your toes are turned out to the side and keep them turned toward the ceiling. And if you're able to go deeper, remember we're just taking the connectors of the hamstring and moving them in opposite directions. Finding the longest space you can get into, and then here we go, digging down. So when you're in that longest space, you might find it's hard to do any work there. That's the whole point. We're trying to build strength in your end ranges. Dig harder. Dig with 75% of your effort. And now with 100%, everything you've got for 10 seconds. And now the opposite. Try to lift it up. Don't come out of it. Keep your bottom back. Keep your heart forward. Keep trying to lift up. Lift that foot. Try to get that foot light. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax and stay. And now you can go ahead and move out of it. And we'll come over to the other side. Again, begin to notice the difference between the sides. Right leg dominant people might find that the left side is tighter all the time. The opposite would be true for left leg dominant people, but it's not always true. It's your job to notice these things. All right, here we go. We're going to work. Dig down. Move it up to 50% of your effort. Find a little more, 75%. Now, 100%. Dig down. Keep your bottom moving back. You're in your longest position of your hamstring. You should feel that burning there. Keep going. And now do the opposite. Try to turn on the top of your thigh and pull your thigh up to your rib cage. Pull hard. If you can't find the connection, just keep using your brain. Try to find it. Try to connect to your thigh. Make it work there. 3, 2, 1. Relax and stay. Notice if you're able to move any deeper. Go ahead and do that now. If you're not, it's okay. And now we'll come to working again. Push your heel down, 25%. Connect with 50% of your effort. Try 75, just ramp it up a notch. And now 100%, dig hard. And here we go, lift off. Don't change anything about the spine or the back, don't come out of it. Try to connect with the top of your thigh in this longest position. Build strength, here we go, come on, pull up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Hamstrings should feel really stretched right now. Hold it there. Send the message that you're safe in these longer positions. And now you can go ahead and come out. All right, so those are our 2 hip flexor exercises. Now we're going to move into our adductor exercises. We're going to come down onto all fours, and we're going to take the right leg out to the side with the foot pressing down and the toes facing forward. Now I want you to notice that my knee is not out to the side. In other words, this is not a position that you need to get into. Like, this is a position that's probably going to get you hurt if somebody comes down onto you in this position, right? So I don't want you training in this position. So just go ahead and keep this hip right over this knee, and this leg is only going to be out as far as it can go without coming out of this position, all right? So sometimes you might stretch deeper when you want to get an adductor stretch, but that's not what we're doing. We're strengthening. All right, I'm going to turn to the side so you can also see that I have this thigh coming straight out of the hip socket. In other words, I'm not rocked back like this. Again, that's a stretch. So we're gaining strength here. So I'm going to try to keep this hip even with this hip. And now I'm going to dig down into the ground. So again, what we noticed yesterday is if we have this bottom up, it's easy to dig because we're using the glutes to do it. So we have to put this hip down even and force the adductor to do the work. All right, so here we go. Turn that on. Use the inner thigh to dig your foot down. Keep your spine straight. Don't use anything else to do the work. And now find some more effort. It might be hard for you to connect here. That's the whole point. Dig harder. Now, can you find more effort? There you go, turn it on, 100%. We're digging down for 10 seconds. Keep that adductor turned on, inner thigh turned on. Inner thigh is connecting to the foot and driving it down. 3, 2, 1. Change nothing else. See if you can turn on your outer thigh and make that get your foot light. Don't lift your hip to do it. Keep your hips neutral. Turn this on and see if you can get your hip to connect to your foot. Get light there, come on, you can do it. If your low back's turning on, turn it off. Use this right here. 3, 2, 1, relax. Now in this one, we don't want to come out any deeper. We're going to stay right here so we don't have to wait for that time to pass. We'll just start digging down again. Inner thigh working, dig. Do the opposite. Keep your hip low and try to pull up. Find that connection to your outer thigh. Can you use that to make your foot light, like it could float off the ground? Keep driving up. Hold on to it. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. And now you can dip back into the stretch. You can stay here if that feels good, or you can come up and out. And another thing you can do is come into some internal rotation here by keeping your hip down, rolling the thigh bone forward in the socket. Then drop your heel down and rock back. Do a couple more like that. Rotate. Just think about your thigh bone rolling forward. Drop it back. One more time. Roll your thigh bone. And rock back. Good, we'll come over to the other side. So again, we want this leg coming straight out of the socket. Foot is turned down, toes are turned forward. Spine is long, and this hip is down, even with the other one. Now you're using this time just to get your brain to connect to the inner thigh. Can you find it? So again, we're not digging with the foot. We're not turning on the glute to dig down. We're using the adductor, inner thigh, to connect with your foot. And here we go, dig down. Again, you may notice that you can't find that. That's the whole point. When we get in these positions, do you have the strength to handle them? Those of you that are coming and saying, I've got groin problems, this is why we're doing this, because you're getting into a position you can't handle. So we have to find strength here, okay? 50% dig down, inner thigh doing it. Notice if your glute's turning on. Turn it off and let the inner thigh work, 75%. And then 100% of what you've got on that inner thigh. Dig down, 10 seconds. And now outer thigh, try to lift, try to connect, keep your hip down. Can you find the connection between your outer thigh and your foot? Using that to get light, keep trying to drive up. 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. And then again, because we're not going deeper, we're not going to stay, but we are going to try to get the brain to connect. Inner thigh right here. Here we go. Dig down. And then harder. Glutes are off, quads are off. Inner thigh is working. Dig harder, 75%. And now everything you got. Push down. Connect to your foot the whole time. And then the opposite, try to lift off using the outside of your thigh. Your glutes might work here, that's okay. Just don't let your hips lift. Connect and try to get light in the foot. Notice how that's allowing the inner thigh, your groin, to it's taking work away from that. So this is the point, okay? 3, 2, 1. Relax. And now we'll rock back. And you can either stay here or you can come back and forth. This is a good place to work on some internal rotation. So don't think about just turning the ankle up. That's not doing anything. Keep your hips where they are and think about rolling this thigh bone in this socket. Groove out some new space for yourself. And then roll your heel back down, using the thigh bone to do the work. Keep your hips neutral. Roll your thigh forward. Roll your thigh back. So don't get caught up in how far it goes. Get caught up in where you're doing the work from. Roll it forward and roll it back. All right, good job. Okay, then we came down and we did the kettlebell. So let's come on down to the right side. Remember, we're going to keep this leg in a straight line with the body. We're going to pull this top leg into external rotation, the thighs going out, the ankles coming in. Now, I've got the kettlebell there and my foot's not going to reach, so I'm not going to bring my foot to the kettlebell because then I'm going to get out of position. I'm going to go ahead and move the kettlebell to make it appropriate for my foot. If you don't have a kettlebell at home, you can use the post of your bed or whatever that keeps your foot from moving. The point is we want to get into the greatest external rotation you have and stay there. If you're in your greatest external rotation without something to hold your foot's just going to keep sliding back. So we're going to find it, block it with something, and then this whole time we're working, we're keeping the knee moving away. All right, again, this bottom leg is in a straight line. Now we're going to go ahead and come down to our shoulder. You can put something under your head if you have something. And we're going to irradiate. So this irradiation or this work in the position gives your body the message that you want what you're getting. Again, we're trying to use inner thigh to lift this leg. And here we go. With the foot flexed, we're going to lift up and try to scrape the ceiling. And then we're dropping it down. Keep this knee moving away, externally rotating the whole time. Lift and lower. Now point your toes into plantar flexion, and here we go. Lift and lower. Lift, lower. Bend your knee, flex your foot. Again, take a look down and make sure this thigh stays in a straight line with the body. Don't let it cinch forward toward that kettlebell. Here we go, irradiating or creating force in the body to give the message you want more here. Lift that leg up. Try to get your knee up as high as you can get your ankle up and drop it down. This should really be burning in this front leg if you're keeping this front leg in external rotation. Here we go, lift off again and drop it down. Now point your toes back there. Do it again, lift, lower, lift, and lower. Now straighten that leg and we're gonna go for a ride. You're gonna keep your hips up, you're gonna keep irradiating, you're gonna keep your knee moving away, and again, you're not gonna let this leg come forward. Whatever height you get when you lift up, you're gonna try to keep that for the whole ride. Here we go, lift up, your foot's flexed, and now keep that height. Your knee is pressing up the whole time. Bend your knee, keep your knee pressing up, extend your leg, and drop your foot down. Now point your toes. Don't forget, we're working on this leg at the same time. Keep your knee pressing away. Here we go. Lift, keep that height, pull your leg back, keep your knee scraping for the ceiling. Now straighten your leg, drop it down, flex your foot, go again. Lift, pressure is up, pull back, keep that pressure moving up, extend your leg, drop it down, point your toes. Last one, ready, lift, keep that height, pull, keep your knee moving up, pressure's moving toward the ceiling, extend your leg, drop it down. You can come out of this side. We're going on to the left. Straight line. Bring your leg into your greatest external rotation, wherever that is, and then whatever you have to hold it there, bring it to the foot and block it. And then start pressing this knee away. Feel this burn in the outside of this top hip and keep it like that the whole time. Bring your shoulder down to the ground and make sure your leg stays in a straight line. And then again, irradiating or creating some force in the body to give the message that you want this work to do something. And here we go. Lift the leg up, try to scrape the ceiling. Drop it down. The foot is flexed on this first one. Don't let your hip rock back. Inner thigh's doing the work. Ready, lift off. And drop it down. Point your toes. Lift off. Lower. Lift. Lower. Bend your knee. Don't let your knee cinch forward to that kettlebell. Keep this knee moving away. Ready, lift. Your foot is flexed. Lower. Lift. Lower. Your foot stays bent, your knee stays bent, but we're pointing that toe now. Here we go. We're creating force. Lift. Lower. One more time. Lift. And lower. And now we're going to go for that ride, extending the leg long, flexing the foot. We're going to keep this knee moving away the whole time. Lift. Now, whatever height you have, you got to keep it. Ready? Keep fighting your knee to the ceiling. Keep your hips moving forward. Pull that leg as hard as you can. Keep your knee moving up. Extend your leg long. Drop it down. Point your toes. Do it again. Lift. Whatever height you get, you got to keep it. Ready? Pull. Extend. Keep that leg straight. Don't let it cinch forward. Drop it down. I'm noticing that this hip wants to ride back and let the work come out of external rotation. Don't let that happen. You got one more round. Keep your hip forward. Ready? Keep your knee moving away. Flex your foot. One more time. Lift. Keep that height. Bend. Extend. Lower. And point your toe. One last time. Lift. Keep pressing up. Bend. Extend. And drop it down. You can come out of that one. Whew. All right, the last one we did for adduction was to sit up in bear sit. So I reminded you that to get in bear sit, you have to be able to keep your spine up tall to do the work. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see that. So if I pull my knees up this far, I have to round in order to keep that position. So this is not my position. My position is somewhere like this, where I can sit up tall. Your position may be somewhere like this. Find your position. If you don't feel like you can bend your knees at all without rounding your tail under, you sit up on something. A couple of books might do the trick, all right? So you're sitting up tall in whatever deepest position you can get into, and then keeping your chest up tall, we're gonna begin to work by drawing the elbows inside the knees and using our hands to create force, and then sit up as tall as you can, push your knees into your arms back into your knees. Keeping your chest tall, we're holding this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now you're gonna pull your legs off your knees for 5, 4, 3, keep your chest up, 2, 1. Now don't come in, just move your elbows to your knees and then move your ankles out even with your knees. And now we're going again. Keep your chest up tall. It might be harder to stay tall in this position. Fight for it. Drive in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull off. 4, 3, 2, 1. Elbows into your knees. Last one. Sit up as tall as you can. Drive in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now from here, we slid the feet out into a straddle. So this is a pretty deep straddle for you, I'm guessing. It should be deeper than what you can normally get into. We didn't have time yesterday. I would tell you to sit in this position for a little while and see about bringing your chest forward with a straight spine. We just didn't have time to add this yesterday. but you ought to see that you can get a little bit deeper here. You're gonna keep pulling your toes back toward the wall behind you, and then you're just gonna sit up out of that position. And again, remember that we get into these positions and try to build strength there. So can you bring your arms out to the side, and then you're gonna slide forward. And you should be able to pull yourself right back up out of that, which if I had asked you to do this in the beginning, you would not have been able to do this. I included this in last week's hip video. So you might notice in last week's hip video, you couldn't do this, whereas today you should be able to do it better. All right, you're just gonna roll down to the ground. How far can you go without using your hands and be able to pull yourself back up? And we're gonna do 2 more. Notice your toes trying to roll forward. Keep them rolled back toward the wall behind you. Lift back up. And then on this last one, go ahead and stay in whatever position you can get in. So if you can't get your chest all the way flat, you would use your hands to hold yourself up wherever you would be. And again, keep your toes rolling back. And now, again, we're gonna groove out some space. So whatever your position is, you're gonna roll your thighs forward. Now don't think about your feet, think about your thighs. Roll your thighs forward, roll your thighs back. And we've got 4 more like that. Roll your thighs forward and back. Now, if all I'm thinking about is my feet, look what happens. My feet can just drop right down. I'm not thinking about my feet. I'm thinking about my thighs. Roll forward. Pull them back. 1 more time. Roll forward and drive them back. And then bring yourself up. And before you go, sit up tall. Notice if maybe you might be able to slide into a little bit deeper straddle and just hold it there and try to breathe there. All right, and then you'll sit back and slide your legs in. And then we finished yesterday with a nice twist. I'll show you what that looked like. We lay down on the back like this, hands are up, all the way over onto your side. This top hand is going to be the one moving. So take a breath in. You can have your head laying on a towel or something if you like, and slide this top hand past the bottom one. Take another breath in and slide your hand again. Now, as you breathe in, lift this arm up even with the rest of your shoulder. And as you breathe out, open, turn your whole torso toward this left side. Now, because we're not here to help you today, take this bottom hand and hold your knees to keep your hips from opening. Let it be thoracic rotation. And then you'll inhale, head and shoulders come up to the center. And as you exhale, move in the opposite direction of your knees. 1 more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, rotate open from the bottom rib to the shoulder. And now pull your shoulder blade on the left side towards your rib cage and slide it down towards your hips. Your elbow's gonna bend. Your eyes are gonna turn toward the left side, and you should be able to relax in this position. If this hand is floating around in the air, just bring it to your ribs and hold yourself here. And then I'll move away from the camera here so you can see what it looks like from the other side. We're gonna roll all the way over. Take a breath in. Slide your fingers. 1 more breath. Slide your fingers. Now lift this arm up even with your shoulder. Head and shoulders come up. And now roll your whole torso open toward the ground. Your hips are moving one way, your shoulders moving another. And now, take your hand and hold your knees there. Don't let your hips come back this way. Keep moving in opposite directions. Raise, lift, and open. Do it again. Lift up. Open up. Shoulder blade to rib cage. And now down toward the hip, elbow bends. And you can stay here and rest. Again, if this hand doesn't drop down to the floor, just bring this hand over to your ribs so you can relax. You can stay there as long as it feels good. When you're ready, bring yourself up. This is a good time to do some of that breathing exercise. If you have the time, you're already in the position.